that, I can be able to make it to that netball match, knowing I will work at night when everybody else is sleeping. But then if you hold a job, there are still prescribed hours that you need to keep. Those were some of the things I felt that my children's life was, passing me by. I wanted to be more involved in what happens in their lives, because I know at some point, if I say, next year or in 5 years' time, at some point in time, they'll be out of my life, in the sense that they, when they go to varsity, then they are truly their own individuals. So, yeah. And also wanted to do something that I'm passionate about. So, when you are an entrepreneur, you kind of make the decision in your business what doesn't work, then you find a way of changing it. But if you in a organization, there are many layers before you can achieve those changes. You can recommend. That's only, it takes some time for those decisions to be made. And I wanted to create wealth as well, because I thought as much as, I was earning a decent salary, but then wanted something that even beyond my working life, I could have something that is working out there, not necessarily requiring me to keep your 8 to 5 hours. And I didn't want to think about that when I reached my retirement age. And thought, you know what, let me start now. This is something that has been on my mind for a while. And the things that I identified as probably, the things that were barriers for me to actually venture into this journey was that, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, I didn't really have much confidence, where do I start? What do I need? And also the financial needs. If you want to start a business, you need capital, you must do this and whatever, and struggling to figure out exactly how much money do I really need to start up. And startup logistics, just knowing what is the first step. What do I need to do? What should be in place, and followed by what? Personal and family issues. Of course, I have children. They depend on me. You have a family, you have responsibilities. So it's not easy to just let go of that guaranteed monthly salary to venture into the unknown. Also, the time constraints, you're thinking, okay, as a start, you're probably thinking maybe I should do both, and then it becomes not very practical. And as I said, lack of skills, never been into this, never having done this before, if I do it, of course, there were red signs all over saying it's not going to work, it's not going to work. But then, at some point in time in my life, I decided, you know what, I need to do this, because now it was starting. As much as I had a job, that was not really what I felt I wanted to do for the rest of my working life. So in 2014, I left a job, what I was doing, which I was doing, as much as my responsibilities changed over the 10 years, but I left it at the end of 2014. And then in 2015, I knew that.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Numisa, are you still there?
Yeah. I lost you there for a bit.
Okay, you are back now. Thank you.
Am I back? Okay, let me try. Can you still see the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. All right. And then, so I had this company registered sitting there nicely, but nothing happening in there. And then in 2018, that was like almost 4 years after I had actually. So in the process, I got another job as well, because it was, I think, the jitters got the better of me. I got another job, I think in June 2015. I went back into the whatever, but I knew that my heart was definitely not in what I was doing. But because I didn't really had a crystal clear plan, how am I going to do this? So in September, I came across, in fact, a friend recommended that there is this thing. They had attended it earlier, some property free 2-hour free property investment session. So I went and attended this thing. And at the end of this session, what comes up is that then there is a course that you can attend to get more details. So you just get the teaser in the free session, and then November 2019, attended the course. It was not a very long course, but it was over 2 or 3 days. But the information that it was intense, I must say. And after those 2 days, I knew that, this is what I've been waiting for. I'm not going to postpone it any further. And by the end of those 2 days, I had signed up. My apologies there. It's November 2019, that very same weekend when I attended this. I signed up for a mentorship program. Quit my job January 2019, and then I started the mentorship program because I knew I wouldn't be able to do both at the same time. So this is basically what happened on the journey. Found a mentor. I think what's important, whatever you want to do in life, find a mentor. It doesn't matter what is it. Find someone who has done it before. It's not the same as reading a textbook or study material. I think it makes it very easy to have someone who you can ask a question and then they share experiences, because when we read a book, it's probably just from the point of view of what that particular, the author wrote. But if you have a mentor, then your mentor will, even if it's not something they've come across, but you work together to try and look at solutions. So it saves time in terms of what needs to be done, and it will save you money as it reduces the mistakes that you're going to make. There will still be mistakes that are going to happen because every journey is unique and it is different. And from this mentorship, the spin-offs that happen is that now you become part of a professional network. There are various individuals and organizations that you come across because your mentor will be someone who is. So my mentor was it is still Mr. Dendi Matamela. And then I got then the opportunity of having access to his world and his team, and Mr. Dendi Matamela and Mr. Moses Ramabulana. So that is the benefit of having a mentor, because you get access to all the things you wouldn't have been able to figure out on your own. And the mentorship also involved, we were looking for a project manager. We didn't have a project, but to go out there and figure out, look at other project managers. I've got the ones that I know, and then look for other ones. Go out there. So we met other entrepreneurs in the midst of all of this, and you learn about what they do. And then what also happens is that then you start improving on your current skills, because now you see how a feasibility study, a model is done. And, as much as I have the finance background, but my finance was not the one that looked at feasibilities. And you acquire new skills. I've gone through the courses that were presented in the past 3 weeks to the team, and I had never started entrepreneurship, and now through
we've lost you again, Numisa.
the NQF level 4 real estate, the real estate level 4. So I think, am I back? Nice.
Yes, you are.
You're back.
You gone
Yes, you are
again.
back.
Gone again.
Still lost? Okay, I'm closing this. Yeah, hey, I guess
Yeah, but we can.
are we still together? Are we still
Yes.
together?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
All right. I think the next business venture is to get into the space of Wi-Fi and be entrepreneurially and figure out what is it that's not working. All right.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that I came across? Finding the right business opportunity. It took us about because we have a company with have a business partner. We work together on this entrepreneurship journey. Finding the right business opportunity. It took us 6 months to find the right business opportunity and say, okay, this one is going to work. But in the process, you see different adverts, you drive around, you meet estate agents, you look at this, you do the numbers, they don't work, you leave that one, you move on to the next one. So yeah, finding the right business opportunity, it's not the easiest, but in the process you learn, because you can see when something is not going to work and then you move on. So that is a skill you need to know that those 6 months gave to us. As I've told you, I quit my job, so I was working without pay. And I'm still, you work without pay because you're still chasing this dream. You have no previous experience, so you have to rely on others and for expertise and resources. The people dynamics, they come into effect. You need to manage those, various organizations that you work with, because, you will still have to work with various engineers, architects, project managers, quantity surveyors. So people management comes into there. They have other clients, you coming and saying, can I have this by tomorrow? You're not always going to get it, but you persist and you try and go in there. Raising capital. It's I'm not a millionaire. I don't have the money that I needed. So you need to go out there and raise the capital and knock at different doors. You held meetings, DBSA, TEF, GPF, you name it, various organizations, NEF, and all those stuff. And their requirements are different. And then there are times where you start doubting yourself, and get disillusioned. Like, okay, did I really make the right decisions? Where you go on 2 months and you're feeling you're not making breakthroughs. And also making major decisions. You're thinking, I need to appoint a project manager. I've met different people, would this be the right one? You have a mentor, but the fact that you can't always go and ask, what should I do? You need to be able to equip yourself on how you actually need to make the right decisions with the information that you have. What helps? Zig Ziglar says that it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. So basically, your attitude is what's going to take you through, because there are many factors that are not within your control, which are instrumental in determining your success. So you need to be resilient and be agile, because goals are met. Now you need to try and adapt to that. You are on this trajectory, now you need to change and follow this particular trajectory. You need to be resourceful. So having maintaining those networks, having strong connections with people, maintaining relationships. You need to have faith and be persistent without really annoying people. When you making those phone call, timing yourself that, okay, every week, I'm not going to call this person every day, but at least every week I need to know what they have done to, I'm waiting for something from them. Then, you listen and then you learn from others. Eventually you're going to create your own path. We're not on exactly the
Oh, we've lost you again.
Numi, where are
Network,
you?
it's a yeah, network can be a challenge. Um, Let me see if she's there.
Am I back? Am I back? No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. All right. Am I back now? Can you hear me?
yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
All right. So basically, that's what I was saying, that attitude is very important.
Gone again.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. All right. Okay. So some of the myths that I came across, kind of prevented me from entering into this space. For example, is that you start business solely to make money. Like I indicated earlier on, it's what money can do for you is that into your pot before you make that decisions. And the fact that you need to have a lot of money to start a business, like I said, there are funders out there, and they fund ideas. So they don't, when they look at your financial position, it's just to assess how responsible you are with your own money before they can hand over their money to you. But how much you have in the bank account is not necessarily a factor, but it's more about your credit rating. How have you been able to manage your own finances? But you don't need that lot of money. If a business idea is lucrative and you can present how you're going to make money, how you're going to take care of all the relevant expenses, and they look at the necessary ratios that are important for them to assess how successful or how whatever. There's also the myth that entrepreneurship is for the young and reckless. I am an adult, a responsible adult. So, it's never too late. It is never too late for anyone. There is no age restriction. What is important is what you put to the table and how it's going to work and how it's going to be managed. It takes a great idea. When I left my job, I knew I wanted to be in property, but then there was, I didn't really have a concrete idea of what property, how, when. I didn't have a lot of answers, but then I was like, I am doing this, and we'll get in there and we'll learn and figure it out. And there's also this thing that entrepreneurs are born. That is true. There are those that are born, but then you know what? You learn from them. Not all of us, so it can be taught, and you can learn from that. So don't despair if you think you have no clue. At some point in time, I also had no idea where to start. I'll briefly talk to you about their project. We found a business opportunity in Pretoria Central. This is how it's a building that it's empty, so it's locked up. But fortunately, there are no squatters, because I think if you can see at the bottom, the shops that are in there. So one of the people that is renting the shop is actually kind of in charge of have been given the responsibility of being a caretaker and making sure that squatters do not come in. So this is from the Sophie de Bruin main street, the one at the bottom on my left-hand side, and then the other one. And then on the right-hand side. So it's a corner building. On the right-hand side, the picture is from the Pretoria Street side. It's a double. It's two stands. Fortunately, they're owned by the same person. So basically, what we are planning to do, so this is to be demolished completely, and we start from scratch. And this is what is going to be in there: a 9-story building that will have 234 units. This is earmarked for student accommodation. The beds that will be in there will have 1,020 beds. The capital project is 166 million, but then the business value, when you look at the cash flow, we looked at the discounted cash flow method of a business valuation, and it comes up. The units are structured is such that it can be a 2-bedroom apartment. Targeted at affordable housing, as your exit strategy. So when you actually get into any business strategy, you need to think of, if this doesn't work, how can I turn this around to make it successful? But then knowing the challenges that are out there as far as student accommodation is concerned, we're very much confident that this is, it is definitely going to fly, because there are more than 10,000 jobs that are in deficit, that institutions are not able to accommodate, to take care of their students. They can accommodate them in the classroom, but as far as accommodation is concerned, it's not in there. And this also gives the opportunity to educational institutions to focus on their mission, which is about education, not property, because for them to be part of building residences. So basically, our approach is filling a gap that is out there in the market. We've received an expression. We did receive an expression of interest from GPF. We went into detail with drawings, and then in December, because it is a big project, they advised that we do this as 2 phases, because initially it was just 1 phase, so that at least the first 500 beds are in there earning money before we can have, and that way it also accelerate the process to repay our debt to them, because remember, these are state funds and there are other people who are waiting to get this money, like yourselves. So you're waiting for that money. So in December, and unfortunately in public sector, these things get approved at even, I guess, in private sector as well, at board meetings, which only take place on a quarterly basis. So we had to wait for that. So in December, that was the outcome. And then whilst we were busy working on that, and then the board's term expired, there was no board at GPF. But then as the new board came in, then we went into lockdown. So, these are some of the strifes that you come across, and in the process, then your offers to purchase, they expire. But then the seller is someone who's very, he's been kind to us. So we've managed to. He understands the dynamics of what happened. So yeah. So what I can say is that, this is going to happen. So we've resumed. They've only opened now in June, and when they opened, they started. They're working with skeleton staff, and as they're working with skeleton staff as well, they're focusing on helping, the other entrepreneurs that were already in their pipeline with some kind of seeing how they can provide some relief on them. But So yeah, it is a project that's on its way. It has experienced some delays as well, and we've been, So we're waiting for this to. We're hoping that by next month this will be something that will be sorted, and then we can commence with the work that needs to be done. It is definitely so. The perseverance and making sure that you keep your eye on the ball. You must always keep in mind what are the opportunities that are waiting for you. So this is important, that on your desk, on your wherever your working space is, you need to possess your success. You must envision it and believe it's going to happen. You're going to create wealth. You're going to create jobs, especially after this this COVID disaster that we find ourselves in. You're going to make a difference because, especially in student accommodation, I believe these are some of the the lack of student accommodation is one of the causes for this blessy phenomenon that is killing our youth out there, because when you don't have a place to stay, you find yourself in very compromising positions that you will end up in situations as a young lady, not even young men, situations that you never planned for, but out of desperation. So it is important that, you support the community, you create jobs, you make a difference to somebody's life. And also think about what kind of social entrepreneurship you can get into with what you're doing. When you're doing well, what good can you do out there? And also, there is no retirement age when you're doing something that you are passionate about. So with that, I will leave you with these words. It always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you, Numisa.
Oh, thank you very much. That was beautiful. Very inspiring.
Yeah, beautiful, Numisa.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. You are welcome, Sister Siabo. Rina.
Motivating.
Okay. Rina.
Numisa, thank you so much. This was really inspiring, and I think showing everybody that you can achieve whatever dream you've got. You can achieve it and never stop dreaming.
Yes, that's very important.
Yes. So thank you for this. And Mr. Munase, if he can please explain to us the LMS system, I'll appreciate that. And if Mr. Matamela can maybe as well give us some thought.